going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for another week of Best Bets and Props, where I go over all of my betting action for this weekend's UFC card. UFC Vegas 67, Sean Strickland versus Nasruddin Imavov in the main event at light heavyweight. We have 12 fights total on this card. The break of the UFC is over. It was a long 4 weeks, so I'm glad to be back, you guys. I've missed talking fights with you, but betting-wise, this is kind of a nightmarish card in my opinion. I only have one bet posted for this fight card, and that's how it's going to stay. But I do have some money lines I do like, some recommended props that I do like as well. But personally, one bet on this card. I'll talk about that later in this video. But first things first, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Trying to keep this channel growing into the new year. I started this last year and had a lot of progress, met a lot of fun subscribers and fun friends and fight fans here. So let's keep this channel growing into the new year. Also, I am partnered with BetUS Sportsbook, and they have competitive lines for this sport that we love, mixed martial arts. They've got other sports too, but I can talk about what I'm an expert in, and that's mixed martial arts. I like their lines and their props. Sometimes, they're kind of lined where it's in our favor and not in the sportsbook's favor. So I'll point out spots like that as I go through fights on my channel. But I've got a promo code, Addicted2Combat125. For BetUS Sportsbook new customers, you can get a 125% sports deposit bonus. So on the Sportsbook, you can 1.25 times your money as a new customer, up to $2,500. So check out that link in the description. Use that promo code. Easy way to help out the channel as well as put money in your pocket and make money on fights. So without further ado, some money lines I do like on this card. Punahele Soriano over Roman Kopylov. I like Soriano in this spot. He's going to be the more aggressive guy, push the pace in round one, and I think he'll do his best work in this fight early. It does get dicey for him if this goes over the 1.5 round mark. At that point, I think Kopylov does have a chance to take over. Kopylov is not the most impressive guy to me in the division, but he did make some improvements in his last fight, get his first victory over Di Chirico, and get that round 3 TKO, and just peppers you with consistent volume and pretty good hand speed over the course of the fight. But early in round 1, I think Soriano is going to be way too aggressive, physical, and powerful, and probably get that round 1 KO like he's done time and time again. So at minus 155 on the money line, I don't hate the play on Soriano. Not something I'm going to play myself. Soriano is that type of guy, like I mentioned. He is fighting on a timer, but the knockout prop for him is around plus 200. I don't hate that prop either for Soriano. So the next money line I do like, and I see value on this one from a betting perspective. Again, when we talk about the term value as sports bettors, that's going to be the difference between how I see the implied probability and how the sports books price it. So Priscilla Cachoeira is a plus 210 underdog against Sijara Eubanks. I line this fight more of a 50-50, so that leaves a lot of value, a disparity between those lines of where I line the fight in the sports book. So Cachoeira is going to be the more aggressive girl, the more dangerous one as far as the striking goes. But if Eubanks can get the fight to the mat, she's got a good chance of maybe finding a submission or just controlling the wrestling of the fight. So I see it as a pretty binary fight, 50-50. But I think Cachoeira is going to catch Eubanks in this fight, probably later in the fight when Eubanks fades. Her cardio is a little bit lackluster. The plus 375 knockout prop on Cachoeira, not a bad look. Round 3 knockout if you want to get really fancy. Plus 1900 I saw on FanDuel for Cachoeira, round 3. But the bookies are kind of all over these. Those are kind of low props for a female flyweight fight knockout prop, right? I'd want more money for that. Over the summer, I got plus 600 on the Cachoeira knockout prop, which I cashed back in August. But now the bookies are seeing, 3 of 4 wins for Cachoeira are all by knockout in the UFC. Eubanks just coming off of a TKO stoppage herself in a loss. So the bookies are kind of all over it. They're getting sharper. Cachoeira, the money line, plus 210. I don't hate that. I think there's a lot of value on that. But, I mean, kind of a lower to mid-tier female flyweight fight. This is the first fight on the prelims. And out of principle, I don't want to start my year betting this kind of fight. But I think there is value there. The money line I like on the next fight, which I'm going to talk about at middleweight, is Claudio Ribeiro to defeat Abdul Razak Al Hassan, most likely by knockout. This is pretty much an evenly lined fight here. Ribeiro is minus 115, slight favorite over Abdul Razak Al Hassan, the UFC veteran here, who's right around like minus 105. So, both guys are knockout artists, mostly in round 1. 11 wins for Al Hassan, 11 round one knockouts. If he leaves round one, he loses the fight. It's happened 4 other times. He's lost by decision. Claudio Ribeiro has at least gone past round one and had success and gone on to win fights. This is his debut, but he's going to be the younger man by 7 years, the taller man with more reach. He attempts more strikes, it seems, especially in round one, and a more diverse, striking selection, I would say. So he's going to be able to have that chance to hit his target a little bit more than Al Hassan in this matchup. But again, Claudio Ribeiro, the Brazilian, he's got 10 wins, 10 knockouts, and 8 of them are in round one. I don't see this fight leaving round one. I think, there's not a whole lot of extra value on betting Ribeiro here. I would line this just, maybe 55%, 60% chance he wins the fight. And the bookies almost have that lined right there at like the 55% mark. So not a whole lot of extra value like I just talked about in the last fight on this one. That's why I'm not playing it. I think the way to play this, if you want to, get degenerate, get some parlays going on this card at all, fight doesn't start round 3, is around like that minus 450 to minus 500 mark. The under 2.5, is going to be around that mark as well. So, you're paying a crazy price, but I don't see this by the numbers at all leaving round 1 or getting to the scorecards at all. So, Claudio Ribeiro is the pick. He's the recommended money line, but I'm not playing this myself. Moving on to some props that I do like. Jimmy Flick versus Charles Johnson at flyweight to go under 2.5 rounds. Minus 190 on that prop. I like it because Jimmy Flick is coming back after retiring, actually. He retired 2 years ago, decided to come back, and this is a step up in competition in Charles Johnson, who is the former LFA flyweight champion. And I think Charles Johnson's previous 3 opponents have all been higher level than Jimmy Flick. But Jimmy Flick has a very high pace to him and a very slick submission game. The striking disparity is going to go all in the favor of Charles Johnson. I think Charles Johnson will land that knockout blow in this fight, probably pretty early, but he could get tied up in a slick submission of Jimmy Flick as well. So all I know for sure is that this fight is probably not going to see the judges' scorecards. Even at this weight class at 125, I like that under 2.5 at minus 190. Umar Nurmagomedov is fighting Raoni Barcelos in what is my most anticipated fight personally as a fan on this card. Umar is actually a minus 1,000 favorite over Raoni Barcelos, which is crazy because Barcelos is a high-level fighter. High-level wrestling, BJJ, and striking, which will be Barcelos' advantage here. I think that the plus 700 on Barcelos warrants a play on his money line just due to the mathematics standpoint. All the value is on him technically. But, with my eyes and how I see this fight playing out, I think this looks a lot like Merab Dvalishvili versus Jose Aldo when you compare Nurmagomedov and Barcelos. You're going to have Nurmagomedov going for the wrestling game plan, backing up Barcelos, making him hesitant to use that high-level striking. He'll be on the defense the whole time. I think the more, game plan that's going to be imposed from Nurmagomedov. So I like the overs in this fight. The over 2.5 at minus 245. The fight goes to decision at minus 215. And, if you really want to get specific with it, Nurmagomedov to win by decision, you chop down his money line of minus 1,000, and you get him by decision at around minus 190, minus 200. Huge difference, huge discount just to bet him by decision. Barcelos, like I said, lifetime BJJ master, lifetime champion wrestler, lifetime martial artist. I think he'll be defensively sound enough to make it to the scorecards, but ultimately lose the fight. That brings us to my only bet for this card, which is in the prelims, in the lightweight division at 155, 2 newcomers. This is going to be Mateusz Rebecki versus Nick Fiore. 2 guys making their debut officially. We did see Mateusz Rebecki, the very talented Polish fighter with a lot of experience on the Contender Series back in August. He got a round 1 submission win over a very good opponent. And this guy's a finisher. Of Rebecki's wins, 16 of his wins as a pro, 14 are inside the distance. About half are submission, half are knockouts. But he has seen the scorecards and come out victorious a couple of times. You can't say that for Nick Fiore, who's got less than half of the experience of Rebecki with 6-0 record professionally. All of them are round 1 stoppages. So this guy has not made it past round 1. So we don't know what that cardio looks like in a high-paced fight. And also, 4 of his wins for Nick Fiore are by submission. I would rate the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu game much higher for Rebeshki than I do for Nick Fiore from what I've seen, and the resumes don't even compare. You've got a lot of high-level wins for Rebeshki overseas. Nick Fiore, not a lot of high-level opponents. Maybe through no fault of his own. He might be a very talented fighter, but I think Rebeshki's got him beat in every aspect of this fight. So my play is Rebeshki inside the distance. 2.5 units at minus 185, and then I double down on that bet, put another unit at minus 210. So that prop has actually moved from where I got it minus 185 to about minus 240. I still like it there, but if it goes any higher than that, I would just look at fight doesn't go to decision, which is around minus 300. Covers both sides, covers a freak accident of one of these guys getting injured or something like that. I probably just jinxed it, but that's how I would play it if it goes past that minus 240 for Rebeshki inside the distance. So those are the recommended bets, money lines, props. The one play that I do have, 3.5 units wagered on Rebeshki inside the distance. Good luck in all of your betting action. Let me know what bets you guys have in the comments, any parlays you guys have. I'm going to keep it pretty simple this week just since I don't like a lot of the lines on this fight card from a gambling perspective. As a fan, I'm excited and I'm glad to be back. So I'll hit you guys up on Sunday for the recap and go over, if I got reverse swept or not with my one bet. And just talk about some of, how these money lines and stuff went on Sunday. So, again, like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Cheers.